There's an entertaining day ahead of us. Just thinking about what I want to write on my card. Peace of the Saints. Today, as you know, we're here in Bucharest, Romania. This is part two, so if you didn't catch part one, definitely check through the channel. Take a look at part one. But I'm here in the city of Bucharest as a part of my tour in Eastern Europe. And I figured while I'm here, I ought to see if we can get an interview with Andrew. So I figured I'd stop by. Special uninvited guest. But see, I know the key here, the key to success with Tate is chocolates. It's a box of chocolates. Life is like a box of chocolates. You know, me, Forrest Gump, Andrew Tate, we all know the importance of chocolates. So what I'm about to do is I'm going to go and acquire the finest in chocolates, Romanian chocolates. Then we're going to head over and see if we can get this interview popping off. We got the address. I verified that it is indeed the address. So we're going to go get a box of chocolates and we're going to write a nice card, a nice card from Marquette de Von Burton, the Saint in the Center. Because, it's proper etiquette. You don't give a gift without a card. It's just the right thing to do. And then we're going to go over there and see if we can get this popping. This should be a fun day. We really got to get this in today because I'd like to continue my tour of Europe. I'm going to go to a different city tomorrow. My assistant is flying back to headquarters tonight. So it's time to get this done. And, this is obviously a priority because truth be told, I was supposed to get a manicure today. My nails are just completely out of control. I was supposed to get a manicure today and I was supposed to go to the opera. And we had to basically set both of those plans aside. So, I'm serious. But this is the gate that we've seen many times. In fact, I think when Matthew Shea, the nerd kid, we saw him here at this location. And then in the background with Matthew Shea, we saw this green gate and we saw like an old Soviet looking apartment. So I trust this is actually the location. It looks like there's some nice land behind if you want to expand his property. That's pretty cool. It looks like he has a good bit of privacy here, nice little wall. I don't know if this is a part of his place or if this is a facade or what it is precisely, but we're going to go check it out, go see what we can do. So this is the location. We know we got the location, so that's a good thing. So now the most important thing is getting high quality chocolates and getting, writing something pithy but thoughtful in the card. So I go ahead and close this up. This should be fun. These are the things I enjoy in life, a little bit of entertainment. One thing I will say is, I don't want you all to take this as an example of good etiquette in as much as you don't want to show up to people's house uninvited. In fact, if you have Boss University, which you can get at marquettism.com, it might be in the description. If you go to marquettism.com and click Boss University, we have an entire lesson on etiquette. This is definitely not proper etiquette to show up to people's homes uninvited, but I'll make an exception here. Sure. This is really authentic. I feel very Romanian right now. About to get these chocolates because close sources, by close sources I mean the public internet, has informed me that this man loves chocolate. So I don't know what the hell this is, but this is straight. We can throw this in there. This looks nice. It's sass and red. You feel me? What else? Ooh, that looks real. That looks fancy right there. We're gonna throw this in there too. We might need a bag. We're for sure gonna need a bag. 1000% we're gonna need a bag. Okay. Oh, finest selection? What? We need the finest, but this is open. That's quite Soviet of them. Okay, grab a fresh one. All right, cool. So we got that. Boom. Oh, I like this right here. I like how this looks. Oh, we got the colors here. Wait, this is not wrapped in plastic. I don't trust this at all. Yeah, that one's not wrapped in plastic either, huh? Nah, we can't give anybody anything unsealed. We know Tate loves chocolate, so we got to give him some quality stuff. Oh, there's a bow. Oh, I like that. I like bows. I bet Tate likes bows as well. See, Matthew Shea, shame on him for not showing up with quality chocolates. I think that was part of the issue. And for myself, I like uh, these breakfast crackers here. So this is for me. You think we're good? This is a reasonable amount of chocolate to present as an offering. Yeah, I think this should do. Okay. Yeah, I think this should do. I'm not seeing anything else that reaches out to my soul from a chocolate perspective. Oh, actually, this is. Oh, this. See, that is packaged beautifully. Cool. Now we need a card. What? Oh, that just for you? You like that one? That's cute right there. We need one that's big enough to contain the chocolate, though. Yeah. Got to put a lady's touch on this. Should we go with the just for you then? The card is really important too. We got to find the card. All right, we're not gonna make this deep. I'll take this just for you. Oh, I should grab some water as well while we're here. No, brother, got to stay hydrated. Yeah. Oh, perfect. You got the card with the chocolates on it? Yeah, we could take that. Whoa, that's not coming off. Yeah, I'll take this. Yeah, peace to the saints. We about to do this right. See, Matthew didn't have any decency. His chocolate game was weak. He didn't want to give up the chocolates. Just grab one. He didn't want to give up the chocolates. We gonna give up the chocolates, man. We gonna give up the chocolates. It's a real skinny bitty just walked by. I like them thin. You heard me? I like them real thin, not fake thin. Sometimes you got these fat chicks they identify as trans slender. I don't like that at all. Okay, I'm gonna give you all of 30 more seconds to get a bag. 29, 28. Yeah, just take the bag, whatever. Yep, that's the one. Brilliant. This is a very ugly bag, but we're gonna use it. All right, cool. Great. This is the bag she came up with. Not my choice, but let's roll. Can we go down here? Is this the biggest one? Is there a bigger one? Okay. All right. So last request. You have 10 seconds to get a big enough bag. It's a big enough bag. Now, you don't have to like it. Just get a big enough bag. Thank you. That's the one. Brilliant. Thank you. I like this one better. I like floral. That's just me, though. Some baddies in the grocery store. I never go grocery shopping. But there's some baddies. I'm going to add that to the list of places to meet baddies. And the good news is that they're actually decent. Like, they know how to cook. And they actually know how to shop for real food. It's good. Great service. Almost ready to tip out here. Thank you. Thank you. Ah, this is the thinnest envelope on earth. Shout out to Romania for knowing how to save a buck. Well, thank you. I'm gonna use the back. I don't want Tate to know that I wrote on his chocolates. See, Matthew had no respect. Activate master troll mode. Okay, so I think we'll write dear. We don't want to leave Tristan out. That wouldn't be right. So we'll say dear Andrew Tristan. Is that Tristen? If it's not, it is now. Now let me conjure up some of those feelings of when my uncle was coming home from prison, when my grandmother was coming home from prison, my mother was coming home from jail, my father was coming home from prison, my grandfather was coming home from jail. Conjure up some of those feelings. Nuts? Probably. Why? Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. If he survived Romanian prison, he'll survive this. Let's see what we want to say. Ah, yes. Ah, yes. Okay. So I put both you, myself, and Forrest Gump enjoy a box of chocolates. Peace to the saints. Now, one thing we have to know is that when you pull up to somebody's house, you're engaging in a dangerous affair, especially when you've not been invited. There's no heads up. You're literally about to pull up out of the blue ski. So, granted, if somebody pulled up to my house, I'd be looking at them through my cameras, reaching for the clapper. So I can only expect the same. So this is fun. Darius, he writes, will there be a good breakdown of the type of psychology someone has when they own pets, not for shepherding livestock? I think I did a video on that a while back. That one hurts a lot of people's feelings because most people can't handle the truth. There is a difference between a male having a pet and a female having a pet due to the difference in nature between the male and the female. Certainly, the male that has pets is more effeminate and has greater psychological issues. But when you really think about it, a human being, we're a living being and we seek freedom. The lower animals are also living beings and would seek freedom. And so it's peculiar that you would break their nature because most folks, when they have pets, they've had to neuter the pet, which is to say, give the pet a surgery that the pet didn't ask for, obviously. And they're creating an unnatural behavior or nature or instinct in the animal. And that's unfortunate. And what's more, they take the animal out of their natural habitat or environment. So me, I love animals. I would like to see them in their natural environments, their natural habitat where they can live free and happy lives, just as we would seek to do. But yeah, I wouldn't go too deep into that because there's no growth, and it's just going to hurt a lot of people's feelings. It's going to break their psychological, their because they use pets as a psychological support mostly. Maybe they're lonely. They don't have a man. That's why you call the lonely women cat women, right? They don't have a man. They got the cat or the dog or the hamster or the ferret or whatever weird animals they're kidnapping nowadays. So that's just going to piss people off. No one's going to listen to that who has a pet and say, Marquette, you're right. You're right. Me treating a pet like a human being is weird. No one's gonna say that. So there's not gonna be any growth. You feel me? Shout to Scott. He writes, speaking your meeting Mr. Tate into existence, history in the making. Stay blessed, OG. I appreciate that. Shout out to Scott. He writes, dope noise cancellation on the ear. But yeah, it's funny too because I just spent like $500 on a Rodecaster microphone system that I suppose is probably not so useful, being that I have this. He writes, we got to see if they free him today. Yes, indeed. But yeah, that's the worst thing about human nature is that human beings are psychopaths. Now, the stream I am thinking about doing is about when did human beings go crazy, like at a mass level? Or were they always crazy? Was it always a minority of human beings who were mentally well? Like, for example, you look at prohibition. When the moral men and women of the United States decided to ban alcohol because it generally leads to bad things. Like recently, I did a trending news segment where this woman killed several people while driving drunk. When they banned prohibition, all the immoral psychopaths rioted and started breaking the law. So the question is, when did the average person turn to a psychopath, or was the average person always a psychopath? Is that a part of being average, which is to say not very intelligent? Is you do dumb stuff, you smoke cigarettes, which kills yourself, you eat McDonald's even though you know it's greasy and unhealthy, you treat animals like they're your peers even though they're clearly not. When did human beings get weird and spooky? Shout out to Steezy Zoe. He writes, make them tell you no, just like the black box. See, that man soaking up some real ism, you dig? That man soaking up some real ism, exactly. And the key to life for me is having fun. One thing you'll see consistently throughout everything that I'm doing is I'm having fun and I'm a happy guy. And that's not a result of money, that's not a result of genetics, that's a result of decision. And I tell you, even if you're in a boxing ring and you're in a match, you get punched in the mouth, you got blood in your mouth. Show those bloody teeth, smile, enjoy yourself. That's the hardest opponent to beat is a happy opponent. And people often ask me how I can, persist with my work. Is it possible to turn the music off? You mind? Thank you. I appreciate it. Um, you got to remember that next time that we might have been flagged. This basically ruined our whole effort. Anyways, the the key is happiness. The reason I can work so long consistently is because I'm running on happiness. That's a core fuel. People think sleep is critical. It is. Having the right emotions is also critical. Makes things a lot easier. By the way, this live session might terminate because copyrighted music was playing. So do forgive me if that's the case. I apologize. My earbuds have sound cancellation, so I couldn't hear anything else. It looks like they blocked a psychopath in the chat. That's good. I didn't get to see the comments. That's good. Thank you, Keandre. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Can any of you guys confirm if you guys were able to hear that music in the background? Because if you guys could hear it, obviously the YouTube algorithm heard it. My boy Mario said, "Congratulations on the interview." Nah, we about to pull up and take an interview. So it's not granted. It was not set up. There was no love given. There was no one put this together. We're about to see if we could thug our way through. Shout out to Ivan. Comes in by Cash App, writes, peace to the saints. Peace to the saints. And that's the key in life. And the more fun position is when you want something, not when you need it. You see, like, I want to do the interview. I don't need to do the interview. It's not gonna, like, I don't lose anything. I don't gain anything that I need. So I want to do. That's what makes it fun and entertaining. Did I come to Romania to interview Andrew Tate? No. Some badass hoes I got to deal with out here. You hear me? I should have not cursed, but it's hard to describe them in any other way. So I'm going to go deal with them. I figure while I'm out here, might as well pull up. Yes, indeed. This is also nice. I get to see a different part of Romania. Um, and the parts I have seen, I've not been terribly impressed with. May I acknowledge via What? Acknowledged via PayPal. Um, Vilken writes, "Peace of Saints. I appreciate you, Saint. Number one, how's your trip going in Romania? It's been cool. The women I have met and the women I do know here are pretty intelligent, so that's always nice to deal with intelligent people. The city has been underwhelming. I'm curious to get into the uh, parts of Romania that are a touch more remote. Tomorrow, I'm going to go to a different city, so I have high hopes for that. I did check out their art museum. I love sculpture, as you might know, particularly heroic realism. I love Renaissance art, and they had some great art. Obviously, none of it was for sale, but I counted at least 23 pieces that I would have purchased if it was for sale. And that's significant for a guy like me who's a minimalist and who tries his best not to have art or anything on the walls. So their art museum is quite impressive, although I did notice a significant number of copies. They listed them as copies, as in, like, this is a duplicate, and that is rather unimpressive. But considering the fact that Romania is a small country, you don't expect them to have, all of the originals that you might want to see. But generally, having been in politics and government, I do know that a lot of museums, one, are in part funded by government, and there's a lot of government relations involved in the art world due to the ownership of art. And they have a lot of art in storage that's not on display. I remember when I was working for the mayor of Baltimore, they had a lot of art in storage that wasn't on display. I kid you not, they only had about 30% of their collection on display at any given moment, which is to say, I don't think it's ever necessary to put out a copy. I think it's like really vile and disgusting. I don't leave my home and go pay to go into your museum to see a copy of a great work. I want to see a great work. But, you know, some people are tacky, and government has a lot of those people. Shout out to Michael. Just went on sasmbrand.com and got dripped up. He just grabbed, oh, shout out to Steve Jimenez. He got Steve Jimenez's duffel bag backpack, which is a great product that I own myself. Oh, yeah, and by the way, for the bosses, manandwomanbrand.com, as you can see, the sleeve cuts off early, so it gives you a little bit of definition. I see. I haven't done a bicep curl since I left America. It's the cut of the shirt make you look like you got it when you ain't got it. Somebody sent one of these to Destiny. Okay, said the music was practically inaudible. Okay, I hope that was the case. I hope that was the case. Be helpful to our end. Okay, and the saying on PayPal also says, I'm challenging myself to run 16 miles today because of you, Saint. What should I prepare myself for mentally? Ooh, that's a significant number of miles to run. I have a lot of respect for you. You should prepare yourself, number one, to know that your mind is going to give up before your body, and your mind is going to start playing tricks on you and lying, saying that your body's tired. More importantly, you also have to prepare to use different muscles. When you're running, you can use different muscles in the lower body during different parts of the run. You'll also have to vary your breathing at various points. Most importantly, you need to have a water supply on your person, which is to say a camelback, or just be holding a bottle of water or two, because hydration is going to be the key. And you want to take in that hydration slowly over time when it's absolutely necessary. Also, you'll lose a lot of certain kinds of matter, which, you know, there are certain vitamin packs that runners will take for these kind of distance pursuits. You're a young guy, probably not an issue right now, but you should look into that for your next run. And in addition, you either should not wear a shirt, or you should put a cover, like there are these little nipple covers. I forget what they're called. You can get a band aid and just put over your nipples. Pause. Because the rubbing of your shirt over your nipples while they're wet for an hour or more is going to cause them to bleed, unfortunately. And then with regards to your shoes, you got to make sure that you doubled up on those socks, or that you have good fitting shoes. The Sasson brand athletic shoes are one such pair. They're very lightweight, fit really well. And most importantly, it uses like fly knit type material that wicks away the sweat. Your feet are going to be sweating when you run this long. And I'd say those are the big things. Other than that, enjoy yourself. Probably bring a little bit of music to listen to. And if you can avoid running on concrete, I do it. If you can't, it is what it is. When I was running this kind of distance, I was running on concrete through the streets of Cincinnati. but it's preferred not to run on concrete. Good luck. Shout out to Sam, comes in by a super chat. He writes, of all the people who interviewed Tate, you and him linking up would be the most interesting. Hope it happens. Oh yeah, it'd be a great conversation because the folks who interview Tate, either it's like the famous reporter type who's going to be like coming from the BBC and they're a part of the matrix, they're a part of the problem, or it'll be someone who is not a part of the matrix and maybe they're a successful YouTuber, what have you, but they're an internet nerd. They don't have any experience. And as a result, they can't ask the most important questions of the day. So, and also, yeah, no, I don't want to throw any shade at anybody. So, yeah, it'll be a good one. And do send in the questions that you guys would like to hear answered. The underdog writes, Peace of Saints, curious of your thoughts on endocrine disruptors in plastics and self care products. Studies show that it blocks testosterone and creates estrogen in men. It supposedly is even worse for women. You know what? I know something's funny because in Latvia and a number of other places, I noticed that there are certain traits I'm observing within the women that show that there's something either in the food or the water that is interrupting their natural hormonal balance. There are certain things like Tate's bald, I'm bald. Um, that's a natural progression for the human male. A byproduct of testosterone causes baldness, right? And there's something called male pattern baldness, male pattern, which means it happens in males. One thing I observed a significant amount in a number of peoples in this part of the world is that they're experiencing thinning, the hair thinning in the females, and I think that it's not a genetic thing. I don't think it's due to their age because I'm seeing this in women in their early 20s in Latvia. Beautiful women, healthy women in their early 20s, and so I don't know if it's because maybe they took the vaccine. I don't know if it's because of I don't know what it is, but it's atypical because we have a lot of white women in America, and I don't see this happening at the same frequency. And so, yes, undoubtedly, there's something going on in the food supply that's affecting people's health. And with regards to those things occurring in the male as well, yes, there's a black chemist that actually came from Berkeley who did a significant amount of research to this very end. And the big food industry has silenced him and tried to ruin his life. The truth is that we find a lot of peculiarities occurring in people today, and there probably is a greater explanation than just poor parenting in a sick society. I think a lot of these inorganic, synthetic foods are definitely playing a role, and the data indicates further that males today have significantly less testosterone than their grandfathers did, and women are having lower levels of fertility than their grandmothers did. And also, the natural human instincts for things like procreation are getting muddled. For example, we have women who say things that are completely nonsensical, like, oh, I'm going to wait to have children. Love, you're already 35. What do you mean? You're gonna wait till you die? Like, what do you mean? You're 35. What do you mean you're gonna wait to have children? When are you waiting to? Like, do you not understand science? And so we're kind of oriented the wrong way. Shout out to Canner or Kaner. He writes, "Where can I buy those velvet shirts? The black one is out of this world in a real way." Those are actually being produced by one of the saints in the Yay area. Shout out to the Yay area assassin. Those will be available when he has them available. I gave him love on that one to take that over the finish line. So we're gonna keep an eye out. And if he lets us know he's not gonna do it, then maybe I'll pick that one up and produce it. But yeah, the velvet pimpin is cold. A velvet is, and if you happen to have a little bit of a couple of jewels to throw on top of it, but yeah, the sad thing about the mental ill nature of the world is that, or I should say, of the population populations around the world, is that it's hard to do the real work of healing and seeking a true solution. And so they rather do silly things like pay a therapist who also is probably a psychopath and who also is seeing a therapist. Check into that data. What percentage of therapists also see therapists? Fun guy writes,
you're right about the pet thing. My mom calls our dogs and my brother. Extremely strange, but it makes sense for her. Yeah. And this is something that's going to occur within the it's fine. If there's not a proper male there to counter that instinct, then they're going to go deeper into this madness. Because consider this, uh, if I'm correct, I believe from your last name, you might be of African ancestry. If you're of African ancestry, certainly it is not of African culture to engage the lower animals as pets or friends. And that's for a variety of reasons. Number one, just from an economic standpoint, to engage a pet as your friend, or you should engage an animal as your friend. This is a bourgeois concept. This is something that people who have extra money do. You're feeding a pet that doesn't do anything for you. It makes more sense to feed a cow from which you can extract milk and beef. So this is the African behaving like the bourgeois European. And today, everyone is lost. No one has culture. Culture is declining, around the world. The European cultures, I traveled throughout Europe, they're not great cultures anymore. You look around, you're like, what's next for you guys? They used to have great architecture. Well, what's the newest wave in European architecture? They used to excel in the arts. They used to have the best of philosophers, Hegel, etc. This is not the case anymore. Now they're just trying to figure out what a boy and a girl is. Before, like you had they're giving you like the best in opera, the best in everything, and now they're just trying to figure out what is a boy and a girl. So that's what it's come to. That's why I got to take over the world. You dig? Cat in the chat room, Marquetta is wild for this. Absolutely, absolutely. And that's one thing that you all would learn from me if you're a member at patreon.com/the Saint Center. Tremendous amount of great exclusive content. You also get to be a part of this thing of ours, a real network around the world where people link up all the time, get access to our private Discord, and much else. One of the books I broke down was The Prince by Machiavelli. And it states, and again, this goes back to the great intellectual heritage in Europe, which is now dead. This was an Italian diplomat. So Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors the bold, and that fortune, I think it's fortuna, the language he was using at the time, but fortune is like a woman, you must beat her. She only yields to the man who beats her, which is to say that you have to take it in your hands with great aggressiveness and control. So you don't wait on opportunity, you take it, you seize it. Okay, so this is where the mall is, huh? Catch me in the mall. This is where them 304s are. The floozies. Always at the mall. Shout out to Darius. He writes, what'd you learn from Bokassa, the emperor of Central Africa, African Empire, who emulated French kings? He's the picture for emperor patrons. So when you say what did I learn from him, not much. There's not a great amount to learn, but a lot of people ridiculed Bokassa because they said that he was essentially trying to imitate the Europeans, and that's obviously true. But what is also true is that every people must have someone that they regard well, that they look up to. They must have examples. To have a monarch is a great thing, and I respect him for establishing a proper monarchy in that land. And the truth is that when you find a society that does not hold up men, like, hey, emulate this guy, then the society is in disrepair. That's one thing you'll notice when you go through Europe, which I enjoy quite a bit because I love sculpture, is that they have all of the great men of their society immortalized in statue, immortalized, so that the young men and women can see an example of whom they esteem. Now you'll see around the world, especially in America, they have efforts to take down these statues in America through various states. They say, "Oh, this guy, he did this or he did that." They'll point out some minor thing, or in some cases, something significant, and they'll take down the statue. It's not quite proper. Even in Iraq, when Saddam was taken down, they pulled down the statues. Well, it's not quite proper because even though you might not agree with Saddam, he ruled that nation for a significant amount of time, and he really actually did some significant and good things during his reign. And whether you like him or not, now that he's done, you don't eradicate the history of the country. You don't eradicate the fact that he existed. They did the same thing when the USSR collapsed. You know, they took down statues of Lenin or Stalin or whomever was relevant. And I don't agree with this kind of effort. So I say that to say I have the image of Bokassa because he looks super player and I enjoy it, but I don't respect him particularly as a monarch. I think it's always good to establish monarchy. And if we look around the world today, the British still respect their monarchy, even though they're literally ugly. Like it's like, wow, the concept of ruling as a monarch is that you have divine right, which is to say God chose you to rule over others. God said you're above them, you rule. Now, if there is a God, right, would he give them such bad genetics to where they all look like they're inbred? It just doesn't make sense to me. How's the Queen of England ugly in the face? I mean, it just seems ludicrous, really ludicrous concept. And then you got the other kid who's so lost, he marries an American girl, doesn't even keep to the lineage and to the blood, to the concept of European aristocracy. Now, that's not really good from a concept of royalty. And then he does one worse than that. Not only does he marry an American girl, he marries a mixed race girl. So she's American and she's half black. Yerby, if I was one of those European aristocrats, I would have been rolling in my grave like, no, not the blacks, darling. Not the blacks. Like I'd have been displeased. I mean, you basically your former colonial power bringing the former colonized person into your leadership class, but clearly, UK is in disrepair. They've done the same thing. I think their current prime minister is from India, and this just shows you the decline of nations. Anytime you find a nation that's heterogeneous, they're going to experience more problems. And you know, it might sound like, "Oh, is that racist?" No, it's not racist. It's just factual. Heterogeneous societies don't do as well as homogenous societies. That's why Japan is well controlled and it's doing well. China is well controlled, homogenous culture. It's doing well. And I don't care what the news says. I've been to China a ton of times. I've done a lot of business there. They're doing really well. Conversely, when you see diverse nations, they're generally not clean. They're not safe. They're not pleasant to be in. Um, it just is what it is, especially if you're not able to get people to effectively assimilate. Thank you for that question. Shout out to Melvin. Came in by a Cash App. Hey, Tate lives out there. Some nice new commercial buildings. Has a residence as well. That's interesting. I've been touring Europe looking for a place to have a second home, and so far, my favorite country is Latvia, and my second favorite is Warsaw in terms of me living there. Now, the problem with Latvia is it's an iceberg for 9 months out of the year, so you know I can't live there for any more than 3 months. So that's kind of out. Warsaw, it's all right. Still need to check the climate on Warsaw. And I appreciate that I can take a direct flight to Warsaw, whereas that's not the case with Latvia. It's just a bit out of the way, a bit far. Shout out to Jalen. He writes, does Boston University include the conference footage? It does not include the conference footage. Definitely not. There'll be a number of, a bit of crossover in terms of some of the business concepts, like the teachings on entrepreneurship. And also, I'm actually going to announce, it's funny you mentioned that, I'm going to be doing a Boston University live seminar. I got the date right here for you, and I'm going to post that up as well. I'm actually might even do two more, even though I only promised one, so I might end up doing three total. But I'm going to do the live webinar on, let's see, Monday. It's going to be Monday the 22nd, Monday my time, Eastern European time, at 7 a.m. So it'll be 7 a.m. Eastern European time. And that'll be your night. That'll be your Sunday night if you're in the United States. So I'll be posting that up soon. Looks like we're getting out toward more of a commercial area. And things seem to be much newer in this area, which is quite nice. Less community. It doesn't seem like it's the city planning is oriented around walkability and having a central hub from what I can see. Road still under development. I see a couple cranes over there. That's always a good sign for people who are buying over here. Got some bus stops, so access to public transportation. It's good. Apartments for sale. The problem with Romania, according to my research, is that you, as a foreigner, you can't own the land straight away. So you could buy an apartment, you can even buy a house, but you can't buy the land unless you get a special, do something special with the government to make that possible. If you're from the EU or the European Economic Cooperation, one of those economic cooperation countries, you can buy the land. I think they'd be smart to open that up. What's that? Okay, 5 minutes away. Cool. Cool. So, I think what we'll do, I want to make sure they get this card because I'm really excited about my card. I think it's clever. I'll make sure we put this card on the top. I got a nice little layout of chocolates in here. Just making sure that my breakfast crackers are not in here, you dig? Okay, great. Oh yeah, if you guys have any questions you think I should ask Tate or questions you think would be interesting to discuss with Tate, go ahead and pop those in the comments. See, now I'm challenging you guys to think. People are always like, oh, a conversation between you and Tate would be amazing. Or what do you want to hear? Most important thing to me in an apartment is the bathroom. How's the bathroom look? These bathrooms look respectable. And when I move into a new country, if I'm going to plan to spend a lot of time rather than just outright buy a property, buy some land and then start a new build, I want to kind of ease in instead of brush my way in. There's definitely just to look at the country, there seems to be more income inequality here than, say, Latvia, which I don't care anything about income inequality. I don't believe in equality. But you'll see that the buildings are, a lot of buildings are decrepit, but you'll see a higher number of luxury automobiles here than you would say in Latvia. Whereas in Latvia, the general infrastructure looks better. Um, you generally don't see buildings in decay as much, but you also don't see as many luxury cars. So it suggests that maybe the government is perhaps a little more competent there. The middle class is a little more stable, and perhaps there's less income inequality. People suggest that income inequality is a meaningful measure or that it's a good thing. No, it's complete nonsense. It's really a tool of the socialists and the communists. When I was saying I share your question, share my Cash App or PayPal, and as much I just want to know if people are serious. I only say that because, as you guys know, there's a number of trolls, and one way we figured out to avoid dealing with trolls or just dealing with people who don't really mess with us is basically trolls are usually broke. That's why they're trolls. They have a lot of free time. They don't have meaning in their lives. That's why they're broke. So trolls are broke, and so we use the super chat as a function to basically filter out those folks. I don't even have to read their foolish thoughts. Thanks. I just got your WhatsApp. Thanks for the heads up. You said wear something light. Yeah, I got you. Okay, so it looks like we're in the neighborhood, so to speak. neighborhood looks like it's doesn't have any tenements, any apartments. So well, no, I think that was an apartment. A little bit of raw land around here. It looks like if you wanted to purchase some land, there's land to purchase. There's a couple empty lots you could take if you want to move into this neighborhood, which is pretty cool. And looks like they have some new constructions. I don't know if these are homes. I presume they are. I always want to, I think about maybe a half acre at least if I'm going to build a home. Ideally more. Looks like they have some pretty exclusive residences back there, so this seems like a reasonably well-to-do part of town. In the Romanian context. There's something up here called American Village, which I'd be curious as to what that means. If maybe that's like just what the developer calls it. Good-looking apartments. Seeing construction is always good. When the construction is not currently under construction, not being worked on, that's generally not a good sign. Construction is halted. So I think we're now on the street. We see this green gate that we've known to line his property. We've seen this before on, the Matthew Shea, the nerd kid who came out here and refused to give up the chocolates. So make sure they're still alive. Yeah, a little bit farther up. Cool. So we're certainly pulling up right here. We got the chocolates on deck, so we already know we're in a strong position. Cool. Oh, actually, can you wait for us? Is that possible and take us back? No, it won't take too long, and I'll tip you in cash, in euros. Is that okay?
It's okay, but don't take too long.
That won't take too long. I'll give you 50 euros if you wait. Won't be too long. Deal? All right.
I have to close, and I'll take you where you need.
Yeah,
Yes?
back to where we were. 50 euros is fair?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, folks, so here we are. Take a look around. We're at the compound right now, and you might recognize this. And I should probably take out my AirPods so I can actually hear what's being said. You got some pretty curious accommodations right there. I wonder, was this a repurposed building? So here we go. Chocolates on deck. We're in the spot. These guys are secure. Like, that's one thing I can tell you. Like, these cats are secure. I don't know which one of these to push. This one is newer, but I don't know where the button is. So I wish we had that Matthew Shea video so we could see which to press. So if somebody could check and tell me which one he pressed. Okay, I pressed that. It seems like it worked.
Someone is coming, by the way.
What's that?
There's coming. People are coming.
Okay. Jesus, somebody scrambled the signal. That's funny.
What?
Somebody in the chat put they scrambled the signal.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that's what I thought as well.
That's what you thought too?
Yeah.
You think they got some technology in there to scramble Wi-Fi signals?
No, no.
That's amazing. Y'all are creepy as hell. Y'all funny.
But actually, it's not so hard to do.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Who do you work for? You might be. That's really what we should have. We should have been doing. That's true entertainment. That's 10 seconds that we needed, and that was the 10 seconds that was cut.
Yeah.
That's creepy. No, that was me. No, I'm creeped out. They might have a internet blocker.
Yeah.
No, that was wild. I think he respected the chocolate game. He's like, this man's chocolate bunkers.
The guard was up.
That's crazy. That's all right. No, seriously, honestly, that was unfortunate coincidence, or do you think that my boy has some major technology in there?
I think it's universe working. Like it's not.
I think it was coincidence.
It's coincidence.
Okay, fair enough. That's crazy. That's bonkers. Wow. It's funny too that like if you were actually watching live the whole time.
And it didn't show me that it's recording up until I said
it's reconnecting.
It's reconnecting, yeah.
And that's wild because it hadn't reconnected. Like we went in a grocery store. We went onto a second major blue ball. Now I'm also secretly wondering if you work for the CIA. I'm secretly wondering. And it didn't wondering if you work for an intelligence service. You've been assigned to me. That's wild as hell.
But maybe the other guy, because there were two of them.
Oh, were there two guys?
Yeah, I saw two of them through the gates, and maybe the second one had.
The frequency.
Yeah, because they had cameras, so they knew that we are filming.
Absolutely, they had cameras. Yeah.
So they knew that we are recording, and the second guy could have
That's crazy.
Has like some kind of device.
He was like, okay. That's possible. That's very possible. That's very fantastic. Legs.
Yeah, I didn't see the face. You couldn't see his face through the gates. He was like 5 meters farther away.
Well, that's good. That's their part. That's really intelligent. You never want to have when you have a security person. You want to have just one guy. You know, you don't want to have a single point of failure in any system. So that's really good. That's intelligent. I like that. That's funny. They answered the door promptly, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you see the chat? For me, the chat is not working.
Yeah, I can see that right here.
Okay. When was the last message?
Harvey writes, you at his front gate and talking to his guard was recorded, though, saying it's still a success. Oh, yeah, it was fun. I had a lot of fun. Milken writes, I believe a millionaire. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you don't even have to be a millionaire to get your hands on the right things. Absolutely. Absolutely. That was fun. That was fun. That was a good time. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was a good time. And low-key, with the exact same situation, if you gotten the whole thing on the live stream, I think I would have had less fun. I think I'm more entertained by the fact that the stream cut. That's crazy. That is crazy. If that was just coincidence, that's the funniest coincidence ever. And if that wasn't coincidence, I'm impressed. Tremendously weak. Look at this. Can you see this right here? These little blue things? What do you think that is? Let's go on.
It was a hospital with COVID.
Oh, it was a COVID hospital. Oh, wow. Okay. These are some
Campaign. Hospital.
Okay. These are some gorgeous places right here, aren't they? It's,
On the same building, yeah.
yeah. Gorgeous. very fresh. It looks like a newer part of town here. Got a couple car dealerships. That's funny. Saints, we have to do a follow-up video to this experience on the main channel because that was truly entertaining. I'm also entertained to see what he thinks of my card. So, I had a good time. Anyway, tomorrow I'm going to another city in Romania. Got a couple shorties out there that, you know, they need me in their life. And then after that, we'll see which country I want to share to. I'll keep you guys posted. Saints, it's been a pleasure. Until next time, peace of the saints.